Welcome back to 933 KFM. This is the Hot Seat. My name is Patrick Kamara, and my guest tonight is Mabior Garang. Mabior, you have signed, South Sudanese leaders have signed the agreement, and of course that's what you hope as a country that is going to move you forward and then bring you peace and then develop again on the development path. But if you can give us the details, what do you get as SPLM in opposition? And how was the compromise?
Well, the compromise is not very different than the IGAD Plus, because the IGAD Plus proposed agreement was given to all the parties to go and consult and then come back, and so it was a reconciliation of all these papers that were handed in by the different groups, and so the government has gone with the majority share of government. Then IO has the next, and the G10 7% and 7% for the other political parties.
Who is the IO? Who are the IO?
The IO is the SPLM, SPLA in opposition,
okay,
which is under Dr. Riek Machar. And
that is you. That's where you
that
fall.
Is us. So yeah, that's where we fall. So we have something around 40%, 43% of the share. The government has 53. The other political parties have 7. It's divided into those percentages. In terms of reforms, is where we feel that is the biggest victory for the people of South Sudan, because we've been wanting reforms in government, in the security sector, and so all these reforms are part of the agreement, and so we are comfortable with that. Of course, we did not get everything that we wanted, because we were calling for Salva Kiir to resign. We wanted federalism to be accepted as a system of governance, but we dropped all those things and accepted this compromise, because we are for peace, and if the major things that we were talking about have been taken care of, I think we are comfortable with that. It's not a perfect agreement, but it's something that we can live with, and we can now use it to transform the country in terms of what we were talking about before, because our objectives were political to begin with. Our objective was not to have a war.
Okay, but you, the leaders of the elite, when you fight and have conflicts, there are those Sudanese who have moved on, living their lives, especially in Western Equatoria. If you visit the people of the Azandi, or if you came down here and met the people like the Kuku and the Shiluk, they're doing their thing and they're moving on as if they do not care. What are you, as a country, likely to do to give a shot in the arm for communities like those who are living in a country that some have actually called the real Garden of Eden, to rise and see its full potential?
Well, it's a step-by-step process, and I think having signed this agreement is one major step in the direction of normalizing South Sudan and building the confidence of the people to return. So I think that is one major big step, because in the past there's been no agreement, or somebody refuses to sign, or we can't do this, but we have signed an agreement now. So this is a major confidence boost to the people, and once the government of national unity comes in, it will depend on what they do. Like I said before, like what the government of national unity will do will determine this thing. I cannot really talk as an individual, because this will have to be things that are government policies, and will be determined by us as the SPLM in opposition, together with our other comrades who are in the opposition and our partners in peace in the government. So it's a difficult question to answer, but I mean, I don't think that there's a shortage of ideas in South Sudan in terms of what we need to do to develop our country. There's no shortage of ideas. The only problem is that a situation had been created in the country of fear, where if you speak your mind, then you face the danger of being killed. Once that fear is removed, then we can move forward in an honest dialogue in the country. out of the dialogue that we have as a country, will answer the question that you're asking. But I can sit here and give you ideas until the cows come home.
Okay, yeah, but your country still has a long way to go in solving, for example, even border conflicts. You have the issue of the Abyei conflict that was never settled. You still have those guys who are crossing the border to come and graze in your land, the Missouri, and you're going up there. These are still serious issues. And
you even have Magui here.
You have Magui here.
You have the Lemi Triangle in Kenya. Again, it's the same kind of answer. It's a matter of leadership. It's a matter of Sudan as a country. We never had a problem with Sudan in the past. Like I said before, that we were not fighting against Arabs per se. We were not fighting against Arabs because they're Arabs, but it was a system that was there. The fact that we have an independent South Sudan was not the policy of the SPLM. It was the rejection of the North of their Sudanese-ness. So as a movement, we've always been pushing for the vision of New Sudan, which, like I said before, also we threw it away with the bathwater. The same answer like before, that the government which comes, well, we're going to form a government of national unity. Once this government comes, I don't want to give subjective answers where it's depending on my own personal opinion what it will be. But once we sit down as a government, what we do, and we hope, Uganda has been in the place that South Sudan is in right now. And we have been fighting with Uganda, but as we have signed now peace with the administration of Salva Kiir, which was allied to Uganda.
You've been fighting with Uganda?
No, we've been fighting with Salva Kiir, who Uganda was allied to. Uganda has been an ally to it. We cannot deny this. This is a reality that has been happening. But now we are trying to sign peace with, we have signed peace with Salva Kiir, and so our trip here is part of a peace mission, So Uganda has a role to play now because the political situation is different. Before we had hostile relations, but and Uganda, though Uganda, in our opinion, intervened wrongly in South Sudan by taking a side. And through taking a side, prolonged, in a way, the conflict and made Salva Kiir's administration be intransigent. However, in the last mini summit of IGAD, and in the last summit of IGAD, where the agreement was signed, Uganda, through the Yoweri Museveni administration, played a crucial role in showing the administration of Salva Kiir that business will not go on as usual. You must sign this agreement. And so they tried to test it out and said, we're not signing. They went back to Juba, and Uganda continued to play the role of trying to cajole the Salva Kiir administration, like, you people, you signed this agreement. So in the last mini summit in which Salva Kiir signed the agreement in Juba, Uganda played a very big role in this. And of course, the historical role of the past is something which is known. So even though we've had this misunderstanding in the past 20 months of conflict, we cannot throw away our people-to-people relationship that goes back, to the independence of, African independence to today. And so Uganda will also have a role to play in terms of sharing her experience of having an ugly past, like how now we are having an ugly present. Uganda can help us in seeing how we can.
Okay, as we conclude, Mabior Garang, are you an ambitious man? Are we likely to see you in a democratic path of South Sudan on a campaign podium seeking the presidency at one time?
If somebody is messing up South Sudan, then I'll always come back to the politics. But politics is a dirty game. I don't have the stomach for it. Like you said, those inside wranglings where even among yourselves as comrades, people try to pull each other down. I don't have the stomach for that, but the situation, if the situation forces me, because right now I'm very deep. I did not want to be in this. I tried to stay away. I tried to be in business. I was running a school before the conflict, but I have been pulled in, and sometimes you find yourself being pulled in, and if I'm being pulled in, I will not resist something that I feel is a calling.
And very lastly, your mother is also a politician, a leader of in her own right, and we've seen her as a minister, and she has performed exceptionally well. when you're talking as a family, do you see a Rebecca Garang presidency?
Well, I see her as I don't see, she's my mother, of course, but I see her as a generation, you know, and as a generation of leaders, the good and the bad all belongs to them. We should not single each other out as a generation and say Riek Machar went to Khartoum and so remained. As a generation, all of you, some of you went to Khartoum, some of you, you know, so I see them as a generation, and I think their time as a generation is over. All of them together, not because of her as an individual.
Mabior Garang, thank you very much for sharing with us tonight.
Thank you, Comrade Patrick.
Good night, and God bless Uganda.
Yeah.